Hello everyone. I uploaded recently some videos with some heavy metal records, and I had several people who subscribe to my channel, and which tells me that there are many headbangers around them, metalheads, people liking heavy metal. So I decided to do this video, which will be dedicated on Iron Maiden. And we are just now listening to a bootleg from Iron Maiden, which is this one, We Shall Never Surrender. The first side of the bootleg is some live musics, and the other side is more studio albums songs. I decided to do this video again because I got some subscriber which again like metal. I know that there are many people out there who like Iron Maiden, and I have quite a big collection, a large collection of Iron Maiden. I will try to do several videos. So this first video is to show you only the albums, the official album, the studio albums plus some live albums from Iron Maiden. I will do other videos in the coming weeks, other one which will be on all the EP Maxi 45 that they did, and later a last video on all the bootlegs I have. So my Maiden collection is about probably 150, I would say, records. And I used to collect Maiden for a long time. Again, nowadays I just focus on the studio albums because they did so many bootlegs that you could buy Maiden all the time. So, and I get a bit tired at the end because the quality of the bootleg is not always great. Even the covers were not so nice anymore. So I just decided to stop. But I still buy again all the studio or official albums, and that's where we are starting from. So I will start from the last and going to the first, because that's just the way I had them in the shells. So that's the last official album from Maiden, or official record, which is a live album, the Book of Soul live chapter, which is from their tour, the Book of Soul tour. 3 records. It's a good album, really good album. I really like it. I had it in a former video, and as I said, what I really like on this album is that they used to, for the last albums that they did, I think just before the Book of Soul, they used to have most of their records, were picture discs. And picture disc is nice to look at, but from a sound standpoint, I'm not really a big fan of the quality of the sound. So that's on black vinyl, and it's a solid album. Then we get to the Book of Soul, which is their last studio album. I will not comment too much because most of you know all these records, so I will just do a flip through. And Vivo, as well, a live album. Flight 666. I had the DVD as well. I have the DVD of this tour, right? And they did a DVD which is really great, and which show them flying around the world and going to all the concerts. The Final Frontier, I saw them live for the Final Frontier tour. That was the last time I saw Maiden live. I saw them several times live, and that was the last time, and it was, if I remember correctly, in Frankfurt, Germany. Somewhere back in time, which is best of from their years, their first albums, I think, until somewhere in time, probably. A Matter of Life and Death. Death on the Road. Edgar the Great, which is as well a greatest hit album. Dance of the Deaf. I saw them on tour for on live, sorry, for this tour as well. And you have, I mean, I didn't see them. At least I had the tickets. I went to the concert. And the concert was cancelled because Bruce Dickinson was sick. So they cancelled the concert. They came then later, but I was not able to go. But yeah. So that here you have the concert ticket that was in France. And you know, the flyers, because I arrived in front of the concert mall, right, or hall. And they give us this flyer explaining that, you know, they had to cancel the concert. Rock in Rio. Just try not to mess it up. Rock in Rio, which is a great album, but here, I mean, most of the last album I show you are all picture discs, and as I said before, I'm not a big fan of picture discs, but yeah, the Rock in Rio album, Brave New World. I start to get back into Maiden. I mean, look, yeah, of course, I mean, with this album, because once Bruce Dickinson left, I didn't really listen to Maiden anymore, and I bought later the albums they did in the meantime, but in the 90s, I mean, it was probably mid-90s when Dickinson left, you know, or early 90s, after the Fear of the Dark album, and you know, so I just stopped to listen to Maiden, because I didn't really like what they were doing. Finally, I bought back the former records just for the collection. But I really get into Maiden again in, I think it was in 2000, when Brave New World came out. So all of them are, of course, original records. Virtual 11. So as I said before, these records, I just bought them later, just for the collection, because I mean, in my view, my tastes, they are not the best ones. The X Factor, Live at Donington, so that's the Brazilian press. A Real Dead one. I think I have two of them, and that must be probably the Brazilian press, and the other one is, I think, an Italian press. I mean, both are similar. Normally I don't buy similar press, but here there is an exception. I mean, I was living for a bit less than 2 years in Brazil, and you know, I just decided to buy all the Maiden records I found there as Brazilian press. For me, it's you know, a nice souvenir from Brazil. So yeah, a Real Dead one, Brazilian version, and again, most probably Italian version, I think. A Real Live one. Fear of the Dark. So I think I have 3 copies of Fear of the Dark. That's the Brazilian version, which again I bought because it's the Brazilian one. I have a Korean version, which is this one. You see on the sleeve, I mean, the jacket around, at least the shrink wrap That's the Korean version, as said. And that's the European version, which was the first one I had. I will not open them, you know, because it's gatefold, but again, I think it's really a flip through. If you're interested about one record in particular, I mean, look, let me know, and I will be happy to show you more of the record if you wish. So, No Prayer for the Dying. So that's the picture disc. I have as well. I have the European version and I have an Argentinian version. So I think, and I have maybe as well Brazilian version. No, that's the Argentinian version. It says here Buenos Aires, Argentina. I mean, I have several Argentinian versions of Maiden albums, and you will see that later, where the titles are in Spanish. But for No Prayer for the Dying, I mean, they had the English title and not the Spanish title. But I mean, I bought it because I found it in the wild in Argentina, and it's a really rare press. So yeah, for the collection, it's great. And that's the European version, I would assume. Yep, of No Prayer for the Dying. Then we go to Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. So picture disc, original European picture disc. That's the Argentinian press with the Spanish title of Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. And you have each time the title in English and in Spanish in the back. Next one, I would assume, is the Brazilian version. So again, Brazilian version is pretty similar to the other versions. I just buy it because it's Brazil. And probably European version, French. I think that's a French press. Yep, it's a French press. Then Live After Death. So that's a Korean version in monochrome. Really rare. I mean, it's not really common. Sound-wise and everything, it's not great. But look, it's like nice to have in the collection because it's a different version, different cover, monochrome. So that's the Live After Death Brazilian version. You see it here, Disco e Cultura, which is the Brazilian one, yeah? And the Live After Death European version, and that's a French press. And I'm still looking for the Argentinian version of the Live After Death, which is with Spanish title, and which is really rare to find, and I don't have it. Somewhere in Time, Korean version. I mean, I say North Korean, it's not North Korea, I think it's South Korea, it's for sure South Korea, yeah? So, monochrome version, then Argentinian version with Spanish title, El Tiempo en algún lugar. I'm not sure about my Spanish. I have as well the Japanese version, so yeah, I don't have so much Japanese version, so that's probably, if I find them on the wild, I could buy them on internet, but they are getting really expensive, so if I find them on the wild for a good price, I will definitely buy them. I have some of them, and that's one of them. It's a really nice one, right? I mean, I will not open it, but here you have a 7-inch. You have, of course, all the material inside, posters, stickers, and everything, so it's a complete one, right? And yeah, a really nice one. Somewhere in Time again, so that's Brazilian version, European version, and then we get to Power Slave, with the picture disc. I think, let me check, yeah, that's the US version of Power Slave. So if you look, there is a textured cover, so it's a bit different than the others, so that's why I took this one. Yeah, you see the texture on the cover, right? So yeah, that's the US version. That's, I think, the Argentinian version. No, yeah, Buenos Aires, yes, it says that here. Yeah, Buenos Aires, Argentina. And of course, I should have looked at the titles. Yeah, the titles are in Spanish. That's the Brazilian version. So yeah, you have the heavy metal attack sticker here, and you have one as well, heavy metal sticker on the Argentinian version. And that's the European version. So I don't have the Japanese one. Peace of Mind. Picture disc first. Then the Korean version of the Peace of Mind, which is a different cover. It's the back cover, I think, from the, or not the back cover. Yeah, this part is on the cover. I don't remember exactly. I need to check, but you know, it's a different cover, and it's an official album. The back cover is the same, yeah. So this picture, I think, is inside of the record. There is, this picture is somewhere. Peace of Mind, the monochrome Korean version. Acto de Locura, Argentinian version, which is not, there is no color on the backside, it's in black and white. Japanese Peace of Mind. And two more, one is the Brazilian one and one is the European one. So quite some Peace of Mind versions. Then Number of the Beasts. So we start with the Argentinian version with Argentinian or Spanish titles and a black and white back cover. Then the Spanish version, where you have the titles in English and in Spanish. And, you know, colored back cover. That's probably, that's the Brazilian version. Yeah. And that's my, oh, two European? That's strange. Yeah, it's a German version, and I think I have the French version as well. So these ones are pretty similar. I just probably, you know, I think that I have these ones for many years, and say more than 20 years, and I think I just found them on the wild and I took them, right? So, Maiden Japan. As well, 3 different versions, and here you will see the next one, which is the top grail, I mean the Venezuela version from Maiden Japan, and that's the original one, and it's not a fake copy or whatever, because you find a lot on the internet nowadays. So it opens from the top, and again, Iron Maiden, Maiden Japan, Venezuela press from 1987. The Maiden Japan came out in 1981, but the Venezuela press is from 1987. And yeah, nowadays really hard to find. You find some, again, bad copies, or on the internet, most of the time they open on the side, but again, the original one is opening on the top. There are several ways to figure out. You see that on Discord, right? I bought this one probably 25 years ago, right? So, and yeah, and you have as well a Brazilian version, which is a bootleg, and which is a copy as well with the same cover, but I think the Brazilian one is the same, opens on the side. But again, that's the original Venezuela press. Then Peter in the Argentinian version, Asesinos. I'm missing on the killer, I'm missing the Spanish one, which has both Spanish and English title. So another killer, monochrome version. This one has the frame around, the black frame, as you can see, with the fame. I think that's a French version, if I'm not wrong. Not sure anymore. Yep, I think it's a French version. Another killer version. And Maiden first album. That was a reedition that Emi did for the, not sure, Emi 100, yeah, in 1997. For the 100 years of Emi, they took some classic albums and they repressed them, so it's a great press, 100 or heavy press, 180 grams most probably, great quality, and I really loved his album, so was really happy to buy this one. I bought it back in the years, so I bought it in 1997, right, when it came out. Another copy, and I have two copies, which is one is the Brazilian one, which again there is no difference, and the other one is the French or European one, at least might be German or French. And that was it. So that's all the official album, studio albums, and some live from Iron Maiden that I have. And as I said to you earlier, I will do a video in the coming weeks with all my EP and Maxi 45, and later as well with all the bootlegs from Maiden. So if you like the video, if you want to see the next videos, please subscribe, leave a comment. I really like to know what you think about my Maiden collection. Thank you guys, and speak to you soon. Bye.